Okay, I'm going to read a couple of articles from this book, Jet Magazine, and it's from June 3rd, 1954. June 3rd, 1954. And every week, Jet Magazine has stories about interracial, some type of interracial sex. Every week. And that's the reason why I'm using Jet Magazine so much, even from the beginning. And okay, I'm gonna start with this story over here. It says 1 out of every 6 Americans is racially mixed. This was 1954. It says 1 out of every 6 persons living in the Western Hemisphere is racially mixed. Dr. Harvey L. Shapiro, an authority on race and population problems, stated in a report to the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. He estimated that out of 247,245,099 persons, there are 8,113,080 mulattoes, or Negro and white mixtures, at least 29 million mestizos, or Indian white mixtures. Most of the latter live in South and Central America. He's talking about race and population problem. I don't know why they call it that, but that's what he said, race and population problems. And this was in 1954. So it's millions and millions and millions more people now. There's a lot of mulattoes in the northern, and this is northern hemisphere, not just America. Now, this story is about this kidnapped millionaire forced to pose with nude white women. A millionaire Texas Negro ranchers, this is 1954, a millionaire Texas Negro rancher, Pete Rido, 58, of Bloomington, identified a white gambler and a white divorcee as members of a quartet which kidnapped him and made him pose for nude pictures with the white woman. They forced him to pay $30,000 to keep the picture from being used as rape evidence. Sidney Miller, 47, and Mrs. Frida Ashley, 35, a Lubbock divorcee, was arrested and held on charges of extortion after Ridoff told Victoria police 2 white men, a Negro, and a woman drove into his property with the pretense of wanting to fish, but forced him into their car and drove him to a home in Victoria, where they made him undress and pose in compromising position with the woman while they took pictures. At his captor's insistence, he later went to a Victoria bank and withdrew $30,000 in cash, said Sheriff J.C. Durant, who called in the FBI. I am convinced it all happened as he told it. He wasn't hurt any. It looks like they just plain scared him so bad with their rough talk and threats that all he wanted to do was pay the money and get away. $30,000 doesn't mean much to him anyhow. Divorce write-off owns 3,200 acres. This is the Negro rancher. He owned 3,200 acres, all wells, cattle, and goats. 2 witnesses reported seeing Ridoff with his captures, 2 of whom are still alive. So he owned all of that. That's the story. He owned all of that property. This was in 1954. A Negro rancher. This was in 1954 now. So you see, we want to pour it in and we not or pour now. Okay, now this is the last story I'm going to read. Last two story. Okay, there's actually a lot of stories on this page. There's two stories really. It said rape victim sues Houston cop for $82,000. The cop was still doing the nefarious thing in '54. A 21-year-old Houston housewife, Mrs. Alma Grace Forbes, who last November charged two white city police officers with, with raping her in a squad car. This is 1954. Filed an $82,000 damage suit against the policeman in the city of Houston. Mrs. Forbes, an expectant mother at the time, she claimed she was attacked. Charges that she suffered permanent internal damage and loss of her unborn child as a direct result of the assault. The policemen, C.S. Harris and Bobby L. Simmons, denied her charge, but resigned from the force while under indefinite suspension. They resigned. This was in 1954. Houston police officer raped women. Okay. Now the next story, and I think this was the last one. Death upheld for GI who killed race-baiting girl. The death sentence imposed on a 21-year-old Army truck driver for beating, strangling, and kicking to death a 20-year-old German girl who he said permitted him to make love to her, then heard racial insults at him, was upheld by the U.S. Court of Military Appeals in Washington. Private Thomas J. Edwards, a married GI from Altamont, Oklahoma, was sentenced to die for murdering the daughter of a woodcutter in March 1953 in Kensington. Okay, that's what they do, that type of sex. She permitted him to make love with her, and then she heard racial epithet at him. And they do that then, and they do it now. And this is both the story of the rape victim, the top story about the rape victim of raped by two white policemen in Houston. And the other story, he had sex with this girl. He was married anyway. He was committing adultery. And then she does her sexual, call him all kinds, probably the N-word, all kinds of things. So that's another story. In Jet Magazine, every week they have some type of uh, thing between some story about white and black sex, some kind of thing like every week. Now I'm continuing with this other story of miscegenation in America, this case study of what was going on in the 50s. And that's what I'm on about now. I'm going to do a lot of stories about what's going on in the 50s between the races considering sex. Now, in this paragraph, okay, it says with the rise of cane cotton and the plantation system, the focus shift from white women and Negro men to white man and Negro woman. The record is abundantly clear. Gentlemen of the Old South did not prefer blondes. Perhaps their nursery training has something to do with it. A. W. Calhoun, the authority on the American family, suggests that the famous Black Mammy played a central role in the psychological process that led to a fixation on Negro women and a parallel process of compensatory glorification of white women. Okay, they said because the white mammy used to breastfeed the white children, this is his, and that's because the white men have fixation on black women, and to compensate the white woman, they glorify her as a type of compensation. Uh, and so that was the case. And a paragraph before that, the white woman continued to be a factor in American amalgamation in the plantation period. Kenneth, Kenneth Stamp, an authority on American Negro slavery, says white women was less involved in amalgamation than white men, but their role was never negligible. James Hugo Johnston, the authority on miscegenation in the South, says white women are partially responsible for the existence of mulatto. Okay, I said that last time. And also in the plantation system. Okay, and then the focus shift from white women and Negro men to white men and Negro women because of some type of fixation.